Hi Pisces, welcome back to another reading. This will be just a weekend reading for the weekend of September 13th to the 15th. I hope this finds you well. I'm sure it does. You are just killing it with the energy. No, not killing it. You're just warm and radiant. There's no violence needed for you. Like you're very pacifist, and it's a good thing. It's really, God, you're such an approachable, gentle, and wonderful, friendly energy. Everybody really deep down just loves your gifts. You're good with judgment of who those people are that you like to give to and who those are that aren't worthy of giving to. But as I've been seeing, I'm sure this will be another good reading because you've just something has changed. Some chapter has been begun, is what I'd like to say. So we're just gonna take a look into where you are in the present moment, any challenges you may be facing, and what your likely outcome is. So let's see what we have. I've been getting so much positive energy though from you, so I'm sure we're gonna be seeing some good insight. Anything that is caution is probably purely a caution. You've done so much internal work, so it won't surprise me. Uh-oh. Yeah, and this is what I love about Pisces is y'all are so back and forth, but that is your nature. That is your nature. You're the most mutable sign. You really are yin and yang. You're not yin or yang. You're yin and yang all at once. So it makes a lot of sense. The way I read this is there's still work that you're doing in terms of determining what cups are worthy for you. This person is clearly disappointed. You have a lot of high energy, so you may be feeling a little bit of emotional exhaustion at this time of all this chi, but does any of it really feel emotionally fulfilling? So there's a lot of that energy of taking care of the external, but still there's something not fully aligning in terms of emotional fulfillment. And so this could be seen as a negative card, but the way I would describe this card is more so this disappointment is helping you better define what is emotionally fulfilling for you. And I think at this time you're just really strong. You're still optimistic, you're still taking action. You're just kind of realizing, not all action has anything to do with emotional fulfillment, and more so just has to do with being active. And that, these kind of emotionally fulfilling things are a two-way street. And just because you're putting out good energy doesn't mean you're going to get it back. And that's probably why we see in your challenge at this time, we see you kind of being on the defense, being oh my God, all the way I see this is there are just so much good, warm, radiant, good vibes coming your way that now all of a sudden, again, you're in your head and you're distrustful. There's just so much pain. I don't like the word trauma, but there's so much, stuff you've gone through in your life that really make you question everything. And so, I see you sabotaging yourself a little bit, or this is the caution to try to not sabotage yourself. Don't fight against all these wands. You don't have to be like this in terms of I know so many people want to be active with you now all of a sudden because you've done all this kind of offerings with Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Wands, Ace of Cups. It makes sense that you gave that out and now people want to give back, but you're so used to not receiving things. You're so used to giving out and not receiving anything that you're questioning it. That's really what's going on here. You're really doubting, people want to give back to you. So be careful. Don't sabotage yourself at this time. Just know that what is happening in your life are things you're not used to. Again, with this Five of Cups, these are things that no longer serve them. Like this could be like getting over an addiction. Like this looks like alcohol to me. Like this is like kind of like a hangover, and realizing that stuff like covers the surface of my emotional needs, but it doesn't get to the deep emotional needs that I have at this time. And that's probably why this card is coming up, is because all of this activity other people are bringing back to you has nothing to do with what you deeply need emotionally. And so you probably have, you know, a bit of a decision to make. But again, don't get so deep in your head. The problem with this card is like you're not facing reality. You got yourself blindfolded. And though it's good to trust your cognition and your thinking and your intuition, and this is a very intuitive card. We've got the moon up here, right? Moon has to do with intuition and kind of your unconscious. Again, that's not the whole story. You are yin and yang. You are external world and internal world all at once. So just be careful, you know, that this is all a balancing act between your external world and your internal world. And that, you know, when you make this decision, you know, I think you have good judgment, but just be careful of like that you're not deciding on things, cutting things off just because they're things you're not used to in the past. Like if it's things you're receiving and you distrust them, just be a little careful of like making sure that your decision isn't purely in your head and has something to do with reality. Is really that's what I see in your possible outcome. So this again is another warning. I think it's all kind of a warning. Like the way I would describe this reading is like some kind of anxiety is signaling you to look at something at this time. Like anxiety we can say is a bad thing, but really it's telling you something is a little off in your kind of present moment, and you need to really tell yourself like, what does this remind me of? Why is it that I'm like doubting all these good things? Maybe it's because you're just not used to having all these good things in your life. So just you know that this card probably is more of a symbol of like you deciding what thoughts are worth keeping and what thoughts aren't worth keeping at this time. And again, this is the beginning of a chapter for you. I've really noticed that from your weekly reading. And just because it's the beginning doesn't mean like you're already change. Like you're not like change is not going to be a little, you know what I mean? A little, you know, like a little not easy always. But again, this is the process. You're going to be fine. You're Pisces. You have like the highest endurance for just I don't want to say pain, but just the highest endurance for life. So you're going to be fine. I think this is really helpful though for you to think about going into your weekend of like, don't sabotage yourself. You might be distrustful, but again, you're probably thinking about what is emotionally fulfilling, and you're starting to think about what thoughts are worth keeping and what aren't. So with that being said, I hope your weekend goes well. I think it will. These are good insights to bring along with you. Remember that anxiety is signaling something might be off, but that it might not need to be immediately fixed, but that anxiety can be a good tool. It can be a useful tool. So again, have a great weekend. And this is Beyond Tarot, wishing you peace and beyond.